What's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today I'm doing a video. It's a breakdown video for Tyson Fury, Deante Wilder 3. They're fighting for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. I did this video a few months ago when the fight was supposed to take place in July. And, I just figured I'll just redo the video, all over again, since they're fighting October 9th. Now, as I'm doing this video, I want to make it clear that Eddie Hearn made a very good point the other day that no tickets have been sold for this fight. So I don't know where the hell this fight's going to take place, but, or how it's going to take place if they haven't sold tickets, and we're less than a month now to the fight. The fight is October 9th. This is September 10th while I'm doing this video. So it's going to be interesting to see, but this is a monumental fight right here. A third fight between these two guys. If you did not see the first two fights, they were big. December of 2018, Wilder came in as the champion and the favorite. Tyson Fury pretty much outboxed him, surprisingly, for 12 rounds. But in the 9th round, he got hurt and put down by Wilder. And then in the 12th round, he got laid out, and it looked like he was done. And he got up right at 9. The ref allowed the fight to continue. And Wilder ended up punching himself out, and he almost got knocked out. I think if there would have been another 30 seconds, Fury would have finished him in that 12th round. But the fight went to the scorecards, and surprisingly got scored a draw. I had Fury winning 9 of the 12 rounds, which calculates to a 117-111 card. But if you take away the 2 points for the knockdowns, it's still 115-111 is what it should have been. I thought it was a robbery. That Tyson Fury absolutely won that fight without question, and it was bullshit, the score. But in the rematch, which was 14 months later in February of last year, 2020, Wilder came in an even bigger favorite in my eyes, because while the one thing that Wilder had working for him is his power, that he could land that punch at any moment and it could be over. And he proved that, almost laying him out twice in that fight. So, and heading into the rematch, Wilder's confidence, I had him as a #1 heavyweight in the world. His confidence was through the roof. In the 14 months since the first fight, they both fought twice. Fury dominated some unknown guy named Tom something, I forget the guy's name, from Germany. And then he fought Otto Wallen and struggled against Wallen in a fight that a lot of people thought he might have lost, He had a bad cut in that fight. But nonetheless, it was, not his best performance. Wilder in that time shined, though. He fought twice. He took on Dominic Brazil and laid him out, almost took his head off in the first round. And Brazil, top 15 type heavyweight, top 20 type heavyweight, and Wilder just fucking destroyed him. And then Wilder took a rematch with Luis Ortiz that he did not have to take. He took that rematch to leave no doubt who the better man was, while the Fury fight was on the horizon, and he already knew it was happening. And he took on Ortiz and was losing on points, but landed a wicked fucking right hand down the pipe and laid Ortiz out in the 7th round of that fight in their rematch, leaving no doubt. So Wilder's confidence was through the roof. He was rolling. He was the best heavyweight in the world. And they rolled into the rematch, and Tyson Fury beat the shit out of Deante Wilder. And Wilder got beat so bad that he's made about 10 excuses for why he lost that fight from, his legs were gone because of his outfit that he wore. Tyson Fury's padding in his gloves, and there's pictures to prove the point and all that bullshit. None of it was ever proven. All excuses. Wilder got his ass beat because Tyson Fury fought the kind of fight that I predicted that would be successful by getting inside of Wilder's power and not allowing allowing Wilder to extend his punches, his extend his arms, finish at full throttle. And Fury got inside of him, beat the shit out of him, stopped him in the 7th round, and became the heavyweight champion of the world again with that victory. So now this fight, a year, and we're talking, by the time the fight happens, 19 months in between fights. And, Fury's coming in the favorite. So if you have not watched my breakdown videos before, I talk about what each fighter, I talk about what the fighters have done rolling in, which they haven't done anything, so that we could take that. They haven't done anything since their second fight. Neither one of them. But I discuss the kind of fight they need to fight to win or to be successful. Can they win by knockout? Can they win by decision? What it means for them, what it means for boxing if they win and lose. And also, I give my prediction at the end. So we're going to start with the favorite heading into this fight, which is, without question, the undefeated WBC Heavyweight Champion of the world, my #1 heavyweight in the world, Tyson Fury. Fury has not fought since that night, but he's focused. Right now, he's talking about destroying Wilder and fighting Dillian Whyte in December. So he's planning on having easy work with Deante Wilder. Now, the one thing I'm going to say, and I think it's significant, Tyson Fury heading into this fight, this is his 4th major fight of his career in terms of just top tier fighting, the best of the best, huge fight. This is the first of those 4 times that he's coming in the favorite. The first time against Vladimir Klitschko in 2015, he came in the underdog, a sizable underdog. Nobody thought, myself included, he had a chance. The first fight with Deante Wilder, he came in the underdog. Second fight with Deante Wilder, the underdog. That's a different mind frame when most are not expecting you to win. Now he's coming in where most are expecting where most are expecting you to lose. Now he's coming in where most are expecting him to win. That's a different mind frame. When you're coming in the favorite, especially after you gain that confidence of beating the guy pretty much, if you really want to calculate it, I think he's beaten Deante Wilder 16 of the 19 rounds that they have fought in. He, in my opinion, has pretty much owned Wilder outside of a couple great punches that Wilder landed. Is his confidence going to be too high? Is it going to change his mind frame about how hungry he is? I don't know. But Tyson Fury, every one of those fights has been focused and ready to go and win. So he got forced into this fight by a judge that ordered their 3rd fight. He's pissed off. He's looking forward to Dillian Whyte. He's looking forward to Anthony Joshua. But is he overlooking Deante Wilder? We're going to see heading into this fight. We really are. What does Fury need to do to win this fight? It's going to be interesting because it depends on the kind of fight that Wilder is fighting. But if I'm Fury, I'm picking up where I left off last time. Wilder can work with Malik Scott all this time, a new trainer, but unless Scott has completely taught him how to box and use a jab, Wilder's in trouble in my opinion. Because he's not going to win this fight on points. So he's going to have to set up the knockout. Now, Fury knowing that is going to, in my opinion, get right back inside, get into Deante Wilder's chest, put the pressure on him. Don't let him extend those punches. Be wary of that big uppercut, because that's the punch once you get inside you got to worry about the most. But get inside of him and go right after him. Fury's got to be in shape. He's got to look good. But I think if he takes that approach, that's going to be successful. Now, if he gets hurt while he's on the inside or trying to come in, if Wilder has a new game plan and gets hurt, then Fury might have to go back to boxing from the outside. But the thing is he's won by getting inside, and he's knocked him out. But he's also pretty much had success from staying on the back. Now, it's more of a risk staying back, you know, because you're letting Wilder get long. But, you know, that he has pretty much won both fights with either style. So I say he needs to maybe try to use a combination of both. But if I'm him, I'm not fighting from the outside, letting Wilder extend his arms and his punches. I'm picking up where I left off, get right back into the mix. Neither guy has fought in 20 months, so test fucking Wilder's stamina early. See how long this dude can go, if he can go deep into a fight. Because let's remember, how often in his whole career has Wilder went 12 rounds? Only 2 times. Against Tyson Fury and against Romain Stavern. Other than that, he hasn't went deep into fights often. So he needs to test that stamina. He needs to get inside, is what Tyson Fury needs to do. Can Fury win by knockout again? Absolutely. I think he can win by early knockout, by middle rounds, or later knockout. Just depends on the stamina of Deante Wilder and how much pressure he's getting hit with. But Fury does have one-punch knockout power too, and anything can happen. So yeah, I think he can win by knockout. So what does it mean for Fury? I mean, can he win by decision? Can Fury beat Wilder by decision? Absolutely. He should have won the first fight by decision. He can definitely win this by decision. So that's why he's a sizable favorite in my opinion, because he's pretty much won both ways, you know, and he can win both ways again. What does it mean for Fury if he wins this fight? Well, it just basically closes the book on Deante Wilder, on that trilogy, that rivalry right there. It absolutely, again, leaves no doubt that he's the #1 heavyweight in the world, and he can move on to other things. He can focus on an Anthony Joshua showdown. He can fight Dillian White. He can do those things. So, you know, it just basically closes the book, and it shows that there was no doubt that he is absolutely night and day better than Deontay Wilder, and, you know, it's a big deal for him. And likely would be the biggest win of his career again. You know, you can compare that to the second fight, but it could be the biggest win of his career. So we'll see. What does it mean for Fury if he loses? I don't think it's going to hurt Fury all that much, because would anybody be surprised if Wilder caught him with a big punch and knocked him out? Probably not. I mean, it would hurt him. It'd be the first loss of his career, but would people not believe that Fury would fight for a 4th time? Now, with all his mental issues over the years, maybe that would really fuck him up to lose this fight. Maybe it'd really do a lot of you'd have a lot of mental, you know, a mental shutdown from it. But I think Fury, being the big star that he is, I don't think it'd be a big shock. And I think, hey, now we had a draw. I knocked you out. You knocked me out. One last fight, 4th time to leave it all out there. You know, they probably have a fight in between. At least Wilder would, fighting Dillian White in a mandatory fight. But then, boom, let's get back together next year and decide who the better fighter is. So, for me, I don't really think it'd be a major letdown if he lost that fight. Yeah, it would derail him a little bit, but it would just lead up to a 4th fight, as long as he can handle the mental side of losing. Okay, what does it mean for boxing if Fury wins this fight? I think it's better for boxing, but not by much. Both these guys are superstars. There's a lot of American fight fans and worldwide fight fans that love Deontay Wilder's style, and if he knocks Fury out, then they're gonna start talking Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder again, or a 4th fight. Not a big deal if Fury were to lose, for the world of boxing. So if he wins, it's big. It leads to, Fury's a superstar, it leads to other fights. But if he loses, it's not the worst thing either for boxing, because either way, you're going to have a big superstar win this fight. Let's go to our underdog, Deante Wilder, and look at him now. Again, he has not fought in 19 months since that devastating first loss of his career. The mental side of it, how's he going to handle that? How's he going to handle coming in basically the underdog, maybe only the 2nd time in his career? You know, you can argue the 3rd time, but The second time for sure, he was the underdog against Bermane Stiverne, but he dominated him the first fight. He was you could maybe call him the underdog against Luis Ortiz, even though he knocked him out the first time, maybe in a rematch, but this is pretty much the first time where he's an absolute underdog. No questions asked. He still has that blinding power, though, that can knock anybody out. Is Malik Scott going to implement more of a boxing jab, combinations, not just one punch? I think he has to. So I think he's going to try that kind of approach. What does he need to do to win this fight? What kind of fight does Deante Wilder need to have? I think it needs to be a combination style, where he's boxing and punching. But what he needs to do, here's one thing I think would work. He's got dynamite in both hands. If he jabs Tyson Fury when Fury tries to come in and pick up where he left off, he needs to jab him and move. Jab, step to the side. Jab, hook him, and then find a home for his straight right hand. If he can do that with success, might be able to end the fight early. You never know. But, it's going to be tough. Can Deontay Wilder win by knockout? Absolutely. He has maybe the best power I've ever seen. One punch could end it all. Absolutely. He needs to set that punch up, though. And I don't think he needs to allow. His stamina needs to be there. He needs to be moving early in this fight. Needs to be on his toes. He does not need to stand in front of Fury and let Fury pick up where he left off. Because Fury's going to try to take advantage of him and hurt him early and bust him up early. That's what I believe. That way his stamina goes down and he has no shot of winning if the fight goes into the late rounds. Can he win a decision? I really don't think so. At the end of the day, if he just purely tries to box and not set up his punches, which I don't think he'll do, but say he did, there's just no way he wins a boxing match against Tyson Fury. Fury, by and far, is the better boxer. So I just can't see him winning a decision here. Unless there's a robbery that happens. Never know. What does it mean for Deontay Wilder if he wins this fight? It's going to be the biggest win of his career. I mean, especially if he wins by knockout. His biggest win up to this point, my opinion, the rematch with Luis Ortiz. Tyson Fury's a bigger name. It's their third fight. This absolutely is the biggest win of his career if he regains his heavyweight championship. Huge for Deontay Wilder. Puts him right back in the driver's seat. Likely makes him the number one heavyweight in the world. And people start talking about a fourth fight or Wilder and Joshua again. So it's huge. If he loses, that might be it, especially if he gets his ass whipped. I think it'd be devastating for him if he loses. Now, Wilder could continue his career and get right back in the title hunt, but to pretty much have lost and not have another chance at a rematch with Fury, a fourth fight, that could be all she wrote. I mean, it really could. It might mess him up enough to where he retires. I mean, that's no joke. That could happen. Remember, he's 35 now. So, he might not be able to handle another loss. Look at all the excuses he's made and fired his trainer and all that shit after the first fight. This mentally fucked him up. So, we're going to see how he handles that now and how he would handle another defeat. What does it mean for boxing if he wins? Again, or loses, I'm going to combine this. It's not bad either way for boxing if he wins or loses because he's a superstar. People would be excited if he wins. Set up a fourth fight with Fury or a showdown with Dillian White and then Anthony Joshua. Not bad at all. For boxing if he wins. Not bad for boxing if he loses. Maybe it's a little worse for boxing if he loses because boxing loses in its biggest division, loses that third tree, that third of the three kings, in my opinion, because Fury, Joshua, and Wilder are the three kings of the heavyweight division, and I think he drops out of that kings conversation. It comes down to two kings after that, and Wilder's kind of taken out. He's still probably the third best heavyweight in the world, but he's taken out of that equation. So, maybe it's a little worse for boxing if he loses, but we'll see. Now my prediction. Who wins? Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. I got to pick Tyson Fury. Outside of a one-punch knockout that could happen, I just don't see Deante Wilder winning this fight. And now that Fury knows how to beat Wilder and he's got that confidence, and I've only ever seen Fury come in hungry to every one of his fights, you know, major fights, even as the favorite, I think Fury's going to be able to handle it. I think he's going to get this win. I think he's going to wear down Wilder and knock him out. Maybe not the same, maybe a little later, but I think he's going to get the win for sure. And if he takes him past 6 rounds, I don't think Wilder stands a chance. I don't think Wilder's going to have the chance to knock him out the way he almost did the first time, because I think his stamina is going to go straight down the drain. So that's what I believe. I think Tyson Fury wins this fight by knockout in the middle to later rounds. But if it goes even to the scorecards, I think it's going to be a clear-cut decision also. And Tyson Fury retains the WBC Heavyweight title. But again, Deontay Wilder is always a live underdog. It could end at any moment. One punch is all it takes. And we're going to see what happens. But that's it. That's the breakdown on Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury 3 for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed doing them. That's it, guys. True boxing. You've been hit with the truth.